The following production is part of the We Be Geeks podcast collective.
From days long ago, from uncharted regions of the universe, comes a legend.
The dream that came through a million years, that lived on through all the tears.
It came here, the Fandom Nexus.
Fabulous secret powers were revealed to our host as he plugged in his microphone.
I have a podcast!
Here he is, your Spider-Pan, Jeremy.
Yes, hello, we are back. And this, I tell you what, if you thought it was a short show last week where we had a special holiday show, we're going to make up for it this week. I guarantee we're going long. I got a ton of trailers to talk about this week. And, a little bit late to the party, we're going to finally get a chance to talk about Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny. Also diving into some great memories of Indiana Jones from when we were youngsters. And we're going to talk all about the character and everything, and that'll be our main thing. But, of course, we'll review that movie and talk about lots of different trailers and a little bit of news and different fun things that are going on. But, of course, I'm not talking by myself this time. We've got it all. We finally coordinated ourselves. It took us a while. Lost Boy Phil is back.
Hey.
Yay! Well, it took some coordination
Yes,
because trying to bounce around. You're kind of busy past your life. Plus, making sure everybody's healthy at the right time.
Yeah, unfortunately, that didn't always happen with me. I apologize.
Yeah.
Not that I can help you.
But we're back.
Yeah.
We're finally getting to make this show. Finally. We've been waiting so long for this. We waited for this
the
show.
lost health.
Yeah. We waited to do this show since we went and got a chance to go see that movie.
That's right.
Indeed. But, okay, I have learned something this week that I got to tell you about. And while the music's playing, this is one I got to talk about, a music thing. So, we're both on Apple Music now. And if you play the Apple Music app on your TV, it's as long as they have the song fully registered that you're listening to, it'll put the lyrics up on screen for you, right?
Oh, really?
Yes.
I'm not done that
So,
yet.
it's like karaoke even. It'll do the test for us. If you want to sing along, you could. Okay, but the song Mr. Blue Sky by the Electric Light Orchestra.
Yeah.
And at the end, you have that weird digital voice.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was saying, "Hey, Mr. Blue Sky," or something like that. Well, Heather and I were sitting there on the couch. We're just listening to some music. I had actually put together a playlist I'll have to share with you. I'm calling it a Traveling Wilburys playlist.
Oh,
it's got
that's great.
The Wilburys, got some Tom Petty, some ELO. And
Tom Petty, man. A lot of them.
That kind of thing. Well, it was playing Mr. Blue Sky, and I realized that last line that you can hardly understand because it's so computer distorted is actually saying, "Please turn me over."
Oh!
Which, what I'm thinking, and I want to verify this, but I'll bet that this was the last song on side one of whatever record this was on, and they were being cute about it, saying, "Oh, hey, the record is still on the over, flip it over to the other side." So that's the only reason I could think of saying "please turn me over" at the end of the song, but distorting it to where you could get away with a radio play and no one realized that's what you did.
Now, back in the day when the Wilburys, this was Traveling Wilburys, right?
No, this was Electric Light Orchestra.
Oh,
Mr.
them.
Blue Sky has this distorted voice. But I was just saying how I got to this point is because we were listening to this playlist I made. I'll have to send you the playlist because
either way, back in those days, in the 80s and the 70s and all that stuff, they did. I mean, they still had those records, even when the Wilburys were going. They still had records and things that was still kicking.
Yep.
Back then.
The good old vinyl LPs, man.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, now they're back.
Now they're back. Now
they're back from outer space. They just came walking in with that look upon their face. Hey.
I never thought I'd hear that music sung in such a way where it sounds like a guy should be some lounge lizard.
Oh, my.
That's how you sing it.
Yeah.
Well, on their face. Hey.
I should have seen that stupid lock. Hey. Okay. Now I'm Johnny Bravo.
That's it.
Hey,
pretty mama.
Hey, pretty mama. Well, so we usually dive right in after, of course, the weird. Well, I should show some weird stuff, but I've got some stuff set up for news that I'm going to show you something interesting I found today. But before I really get into that, and this is the benefit, those of you that are Patreon supporters get access to video versions of the podcast, so you can actually see this. So you're going to get to see something special up on Patreon, and if you're only getting the audio, well, doggone it, go subscribe on Patreon so you can actually see what I'm now showing Philip, which I showed him before what I found. Which I'm going to tell you though what it is. So while I was working up in St. Joe, I like to look in antique stores. And I went and checked one because I was in town. and I found in a jeweled case the original VHS Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, and in pretty good condition in here. Wait, see, I haven't taken it out of there. I'm pretty sure, and even you can see right here, Phil, where they've kind of put a sticker over there, like a rental store would have done. This came out of a rental store where they take the original box and they cut one side out and they slide it down into a jeweled sleeve.
You would have been pretty young. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
But I wager, if I looked online, this would probably get me a pretty penny online, but I kind of just want to keep it just because. Although I've got a working VCR, I kind of don't want to play it because what if something happens and it eats it or something? So I'm like protecting this, like, oh my gosh, I have an original VHS copy of The Empire Strikes Back. And who knows how many people watched this particular copy because it came out of a rental store. I don't know what rental store. There's nothing indicating that, but it's got like where the UPC code was, and they put a sticker over top the UPC code.
It could have been Video Exchange.
Yeah. I don't know what they haven't seen, Joe. It's not a Blockbuster thing, but you know how you used to have to take the case off of the wall, and you'd go and they'd scan the movie, and then they put it into your casing, and that's what it's got the thing on there. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, and it only cost me $5. But I'm pretty sure if I want to, I could go on eBay and I could get a lot more than that. Because I don't know how many of these copies are still floating in the world.
When I was real young, VHS had just hit, and I remember. It was Video Exchange and Video Express, and they changed their name a few times. But I remember
that one on that corner over there.
Yeah, in Brighton. But I remember Video Exchange had just come out, and they had Star Wars. Of course, we loved that. But then a year after we started with all that, they came out with Empire Strikes Back. That was huge, and I remember we went nuts, and we rented that. Oh, I was so thrilled to get to see Empire Strikes Back at home. We never got to do anything like that. That was so great to get to watch it at home. We didn't have HBO or anything like that, so that was a big deal.
Yeah, for all we were renting the VCR too. When we were,
I forgot you could do that. That's right. We were blessed. I say we. My father, my mom had saved up and bought him one for Christmas, and those were really expensive at the time. I mean, $400 was a lot back then, especially. That was a lot of money, and. I'm not going to say 1,000, but closer to $1,000 than what we can imagine. Because especially for us, we was poor as a church mouse, literally in a sense, because of being a pastor. But that was his Christmas present. Man, was he excited! That was I want to say 83, 84. I can't remember which exact. I think it was 84. But he got it early. He got around Thanksgiving because he wanted to tape the Christmas shows. And I remember I think the first thing he taped, and I could be wrong. I think the first thing he taped was because he got it like in October, early November, and he taped the Ghost of Mr. Chicken. And
Don Knotts.
Don Knotts, my dad. And then as far as Christmas stuff goes, because he got a whole bunch of blank tapes and stuff, Kodak mostly. I remember that because they had a sale, and it had that kind of orangish gold look on it, and Kodak, and we wanted tapes. He taped everything. He taped Clash of the Titans was on TV. He taped that. And the only way to take the commercials off there was like if you laid down on the floor is how he would do it, because it had this little wire.
Yes.
He laid there on the floor, and he would click this little pause thing, and then he had to click it back. I remember he'd get so frustrated. My dad would get so angry at himself. He would bring it back on a little too late. He missed the first couple lines. He'd be like, "Oh, dadgummit," he'd say, and then he'd get really mad because I remember when we started recording Christmas stuff that year, it'd be Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and he recorded that, and he said, "Welcome to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer." And he's like, "Oh, that sounds dumb." He'd say.
Oh my goodness!
He wanted to be
with the microphone you could put with the VCR. Oh wow!
Oh, but those are good days, man. I love them.
Man! And now though, if you find on YouTube where somebody's collected those old commercials, now we want to watch the old commercials.
Yeah,
so now if somebody had that old shows with the commercials, it's like, oh, look at these.
To be honest with you, I used to watch the Christmas Story, the Christmas Toy. Every year.
Oh, yes.
Because we recorded when it was first on, and that was 1986. And I was going to Topping Elementary. And I remember at the time we recorded with the commercials, and I was like, oh man, we'd fast forward through it. But now there's something about those commercials that make it more precious to us.
Yes.
For one thing,
why that happened.
for one thing they did was what was his name? something Healy. I can't think of his full name right now, but he had this great voice, this TV voice, and he would do these commercials for Kraft. Celebrate the
goodness.
seasons with Kraft, and he would say, right now, if you have with TV Guide special coupons, you can go in and buy certain Kraft products and get yourself a special Christmas toy poster, as is seen right here tonight on this program. Stuff like that, and he would show you all these recipes in between the commercial
my
breaks
goodness,
and all.
yeah.
And I just love those. I look it up every year. They're online. I like to watch them on YouTube.
Yeah, and it was great is the special thing is where you would happen to catch one of them commercials like ET glasses.
Yes.
Or when like the big ones like when ET was finally coming on to home video and they had special
Oh,
Christmas ads
yeah.
for that. Sometimes there's special ads that some people have managed to catch, and now you share them like, oh man, because they have such memories involved with some of those. So heck, even speaking of some great memories, even talking about going over to Video Exchange over there on the corner, I remember when you and I we'd walk over there to rent games for the Nintendo and play it.
You remember when we went to? I don't remember if it was you and me. No, I think it was me and my cousin John. We went and we rented this brand new Moon. What was his name? When Michael J. Jackson.
Oh,
Moonwalker. They had that game, and we enjoyed it. It was a fun thing because it had just come out, and he was brilliant when it came to commercial. I mean, at least his people were. I don't know if he was about it. I'm assuming he was, but
yeah, he planned out a lot of his career.
Oh, he did. He was good at it. And the game came out around the same day that they were bringing out, or at least the same time when they were bringing out all those. They had TV specials and all.
Yeah.
And
he coordinated. That was an event.
It was. It was
had
good
an album
too.
out. Had a movie.
And he was smart about it, and Disney was smart to have him with them, if you recall, with Captain EO.
Captain EO. Oh yeah.
And I loved all that. That was so much fun. I remember Mark
really
Hamill
put himself out there.
I remember Mark Hamill being on there with him and said, people keep asking when the next Star Wars is coming out. He goes, "This is it." He said, I thought that was smart. That was smart. This is it. That woman that was like
Michael Jackson is slipping Mark Hamill a couple $100. Thanks for saying this is a Star Wars.
It was pretty smart because at that time that was pretty close to being a Star Wars-ish type thing, and I mean, I can't imagine. Now, I mean, closest thing you get to that in a Star Wars thing, I guess, is Jar Jar Binks, but maybe dancing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fun, though. Oh,
yeah. Dipper. And speaking of being 100 years, I know that's a weird segue.
No, it's fun.
So, like 100 years, where Disney is celebrating being in existence for 100 years, but also so is Warner Brothers celebrating 100 years of existence. And if you happen to go on YouTube and go to Warner Brothers Entertainment or their official YouTube, they're putting a lot of their behind-the-scenes specials on. And I actually found one this past week that I watched. And you and I both were talking about this the other day. They had Robert Urich host this. I think it was like the Thursday night before Batman Returns opened on that Friday. Had Robert Urich hosting a program called The Bat, the Cat, and the Penguin, a behind-the-scenes look at Batman Returns.
I'm so thrilled.
Oh, I remember taping that. I watched that no less than 10 times that day. By the time we went to go see that movie, you, me, and Seth, I was so Jones that I was talking during the movie.
And as you know, I was already thrilled. I'm a Robert Urich fan because he's a part of my favorite movie of all time, which is technically a miniseries, but it's Lonesome Dove. And they just so happened that week to have been showing the week before. They just so happened to show Lonesome Dove, and I recorded it because the first time they showed it, I was 12 years old, 1989, when Batman came out, and just a few months before. And then they showed it again, but the second time is when I was in the hospital with my first brain surgery. And I came out and didn't get to record it. And then the next time was that week, and I got to finally get a good recording of it. So I was excited. In fact, during the recording of that, I didn't take it off on purpose, but I got the commercial for the new McDonald's, which I was working McDonald's at the time. New McDonald's collector's cups with the little lids where these the little discs that they shot out for that split second in the movie. They they shot these little Batman discs.
Yeah, little discs came out the Batmobile.
There was black ones, silver sickle ones, and these glow in the dark green ones. The lids.
With those old Batman Returns plastic cups.
And then that night, I mean, like a couple of nights later, I think it was on the same channel. I could be wrong. But that's when they showed on that Thursday night, they showed the Bat, the Cat, and the Penguin, or whatever it was. And I remember thinking, there's Robert Urich again, who was a jerk on Lonesome Dove, but on that, he's being a wonderful, loving self.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that brought back so many memories, and it is available on one DVD set that I have of I think it's probably the first two movies I think I got as a DVD set. It's like a
Batman Returns,
a steel book. But yeah, it doesn't have it on there. But I noticed like when I bought it digitally, it didn't come with it digitally. I'm like, are you guys kidding? It's got to be part of this package. So it was really fun seeing it up on YouTube. But if you go on YouTube right now, I mean, I've been seeing stuff from like Superman movies, whenever just watching behind the scenes things.
Yeah, they got the original Superman. They got some. I don't know if it's the original or if it was like a celebration of the original, but they have some of the makings of it, and they've got some things about different actors and stuff that have been in a lot of Warner Brothers movies. And now this isn't technically of that, but I ordered a couple of Warner Brothers characters that they came out with years ago that I always wanted. One of my all-time favorites that I loved was the Acme Batman suit. That's where Wile E. Coyote was dressed up in the green.
Oh,
they made a figure of that years ago. Well, I ordered one the other day, and I saw that this Christmas they're bringing out. I want this. They're bringing out a Hallmark ornament of that, except that he's wearing the actual Warner Brothers Batman outfit.
Cool.
And I was like, oh, I got to get that. That's just not only is it one of my all-time favorite characters, Batman, but it's Wile E. Coyote kind of making. And on the side, he has this little ornament of the little Acme like box, fixing little things. Like, oh, that's great.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go look for that one at Christmas. Oh, but I will tell you though, the Superman behind the scenes thing that I saw Warner Brothers have is actually one Christopher Reeve hosting. It was a television special.
Oh,
I don't remember if I sent that link to you, but I'll have to go and find it again. But you can see like an original behind the scenes.
I think you did, yeah.
With Christopher Reeve hosting it. Oh, it was so fantastic. I had never seen it before. Although I feel like it might have been on TV like the night before they premiered Superman on network television.
There's also
it was a 2-night event.
I think they did. They also have these little figures and things. They're not all posable, but they're kind of like really nice looking figures of 100 years of Warner Brothers. And some are just like, they're not all 100 years old, obviously, but they're different famous movie things. Like one of them I like to get is the Wicked Witch of the West. It shows her as Warner Brothers. They got things from Harry Potter. They got things from different movies, and they've got they got Bugs Bunny as Superman.
Oh yes.
All these. I would love to get some of this. There's some great things they're bringing out.
If they have a figure where you remember when Daffy Duck was Stupid Man or Stupid Up Man, whatever they had,
something like that.
Was it Stupendous Duck or something? But they had where Daffy Duck and he had like the shoulder pads there that got crooked and he's taking the pills trying to get his power.
They got him dressed in something. I don't remember if it's Batman or if it's that. They got him dressed in lots of different things too. Lots of fun things.
I remember that Daffy Duck Superman. That cracked me up. That was so ridiculous because he was so bad at it, and he kept singing, "Ha! This one needs," it'd be like some ridiculous thing. He thinks he's saving somebody, he's actually causing a disaster. It's a great one, but I can't remember if it was like the Stupendous Duck or something. Oh man, I'm gonna have to look that up now. But it's a great cartoon. They always like to put Daffy Duck sometimes as like he's supposed to be the hero, but he's terrible at it, like when he's Robin Hood or the Scarlet Pimpernel or Pumpernickel.
Pumpernickel. Yes.
Daffy Duck made a great like lousy hero.
and Porky Pig was always on the side being the smart one, which I like.
Yes, when they make him Duck Dodgers.
Yeah, he was great. And I think they do have one of those, a little figure of that. But I love the Looney Tunes,
Well, I think we've covered pretty well what we've been watching, but I want to keep the show moving. So what you've been playing, and I'll just, after going to the Spider-Man exhibit, which y'all heard a couple of shows ago, I went through and I played through the remastered version, still trying to get, because I've got a platinum on the PS4, but the remastered, they added one extra thing where you have to do a 100-hit combo, and I have not yet achieved that. So I'm a little annoyed. Like I feel like they took my platinum away, but they didn't really. I mean, I have to earn it again. But I was playing through that, and I'm still playing God of War Ragnarok. But what I want to ask you about is, I guess it was just last week, wasn't it? That the new AEW Rampage?
It was either last week or the week before. I kind of lost track of time. I've been
new game though, and you picked it up though.
Yeah. Oh, I got it. Yeah, AEW is a lot of fun.
Is it Rampage or AEW? What was it? I forgot.
It's fine. I don't remember. Honestly,
AEW finally has a game though.
Yes, it's good. It's good. It's fun. What I like about it, it's a very arcadey, and it's supposed to be that way. One thing I really like is one of my favorite things about the WWE game is that it has Cody Rhodes. I love Cody Rhodes, and I remember being a little sad that he wouldn't be in this game, but he is. You have to unlock him, but he's in there because I was like, man, he helped create AEW.
Yeah,
and he is in there. You just have to unlock him in the sense that you earn money of course, it's not online really, but it will be. You'll be able to play stuff online. But for the most part, what I like that they did by making it arcadey and not quite as graphical in the sense that there are a lot of graphics, big deep graphics. They wanted to make it more like
a little cartoony, little,
but it's fun that way.
Bit of action on some bits from where I was seeing.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a cartoon meets action figures, like real fun stuff. But what I really like is I have a friend who loves the old games, but he can't play WWE because it's too big and fancy for him. And I'm trying to think what he has. He has a Nintendo, whatever, and he can't. So he doesn't have a game system that will play those new games, but he can play this, and so he's thrilled because he gets to actually be caught up with this. And I was like, well, that's good. So at least the people who don't have the kind of game system that has enough, I don't know if you want to say good enough graphics or what, whatever
power,
it is, enough power, whatever you want to call it. So if they don't have a PlayStation 4 or 5 or whatever, if you don't have that or whatever the other one is, Xbox something or other, because I lose track of that, whatever it is that you can with this, and that is good, and it is fun. It's a lot of fun. Now I prefer WWE more because you can do more with creativity and all that. Because
the creator wrestlers definitely, but it's still half baked from what I saw on AEW.
It's still fun though. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it is fun to kind of have more just go crazy and do stupid things
and blow each other up. I was seeing.
Oh yeah,
you could have explosives.
Yeah, there was a game on there, like a match where, and they told me, people who watch the show, and I do watch AEW, just not as much. But they said that there really is a match like this where it's barbed wire and there's a timer on it. And basically there's going to be an explosion on the top. Now that the match is not over once it blows up, then it's whoever is still basically in the best position will keep wrestling until they destroy the person, But it's bloody too.
They get blown up real good.
In fact, the reason why they didn't bring it out before was they had to try to unbloody it to make it a little less graphical. But it's fun. It's fun, and you get to. Pardon me if this sounds horrible. One of the things I enjoy too is you can fight the women can fight the men, and that's kind of fun. But you can't take the women's belt, and I like that too, because women should only be able to have that championship. Yeah. And I like it in the sense that in the WWE game, I like that they're trying to tell the men not to hit women. That's good in real life, but this is just for fun, and I think we're smart enough to know that. And secondly, I never liked it that the women's characters can beat up on a guy and nothing, but a guy's character, if he even slipped and touched her,
you get disqualified in those games.
I mean, no joke, Jeremy, one time his character threw me against a rope, and Heather was his manager, which is, she was just his manager, and my character bounced against the rope, which knocked her off, and boom, I lost. That was it.
That's why I threw you into the ropes. See?
Just
set you up.
There you go, you joke.
Yeah. Heck, I remember I had an image I had taken because it was actually kind of funny. This was way back in old WWE game, but it was me, and I think I was facing Skeletor because we're always facing Skeletor and stuff. And Heather was out there as a manager, and Skeletor hit Heather over the head with the chair.
Yeah.
But see, this was still, they're just getting out of the Attitude Era where this kind of thing would happen, and they just kept the match going. And so it didn't disqualify him, but I got a really good screenshot because I was like, dude, you're totally dead now. You just hit my wife with a chair. But I have a really funny photo that I took of the screen because you couldn't do screen grabs like you can these days. You had to do it with your phone. The look on Heather's face after she got clobbered with a chair by Skeletor, her eyes are rolled back, and it was so funny. And I probably still have it on my computer somewhere. But that was like probably like the 07 or something. It's when you got back into playing those wrestling games just because I thought that the creator wrestler was so good. So I was like, oh, cool, we can make ourselves. So I went and I bought a wrestling game.
That's what I like about this game.
03 or something.
This game is by those same people from back then, Jax and all them. And so it's so it's not great, but Jax Pacific or whatever, it's not great yet.
Had those great licensings for that sort of thing.
But it is getting good, and it will get good. I still like WWE's better, but it's got a lot of things it needs to fix too. And I like both of them. And so, I got both. But I do like the creative in WWE better. And, the other thing I like about this one is if you choose to get it, it's going to be around for a while. So for the next couple of years, they're going to send you more things to fix what they got. And that I like. And I could make a lot of silly characters, seeing how you can't make like you or I very well. I made a silly me, but they're going to send a whole bunch of things to fix it up, and I can make a bunch of goofy characters.
They're going to be patching it for a long time because everything I've heard is like it seems like it came out of the oven a little too soon.
Yeah, that's
like
kind of it, you know. But I do, like I said, I was really glad Cody's in it because I love Cody's my favorite. Because anyone who knows me who doesn't,
Daddy.
His daddy. Let me tell you something fun. I love Dusty Rhodes.
Indeedy. Well, we got to keep the show rolling, so
Sure.
I'm going to hit this button right here.
Spanning the Disney and geek universe to bring you the best in comics, toys, movies, and entertainment. This is news from around Neverland.
All right, see, this is once again where it's going to become very, very special for those of you who are watching on Patreon, and special for Philip, although I guess he can't hear when I hit my buttons. Because we were talking about as 100 years of Disney. Whoops. I'll put this here. Over. I am going to unbox something right here on the video, and I'm going to tell you all about it. This is something Philip was talking about. We were at Walmart or something. I was looking for some of the new Super Friends. I call them Super Friends, but the Super Powers collection, which are coming out actually this Friday. I was looking at Walmart for that, and he was talking about some sort of Mickey figure or something Mattel had. And then he's like, you wouldn't believe it. It actually came in on that Sunday, and he had me look it up on Amazon, and I saw this, and I absolutely had to have it. It's 100 years, and I don't know how well this is showing up on the camera. It's a Mickey and Minnie figure. They come with extra heads and all this stuff. They're fully posable. And I saw it, and I said, oh, golly, I got to have this, because these are even good size. In fact, Philip actually sent me some photos of Mickey Mouse riding on Battle Cat, carrying the power sword. Oh, boy, I have the power.
I have the power.
So I'm going to unbox this thing live on camera, and I try to talk to it. That way you get on the audio, can still get something. I'm trying to be very careful about this box. I am keeping the box. And it might even be, because this is a special edition, like 100 years thing, that this would be a valuable item to have still in the box. But I got to get it out. And I've got this in last Wednesday, and I've been waiting for this moment for us to be able to record this together, for me to be able to take this out of the box. I have resisted the temptation to get out there and play with my Mickey Mouse. Because as much as this is what I've been thinking, it's like, you can take me out of Disney, but you couldn't take the Disney out of me.
That's right.
And I see a Mickey Mouse thing, and I have to have it.
We still love the
there's
classics.
Like a little card here.
Yes, the classics,
It's classic Mickey Mouse,
which is my favorite.
As it originally shown up in color, and then it's a Minnie Mouse still in the blue polka dot dress. There's a little trading card, like a little thing in here.
Isn't that great?
Some great artwork. I'm not sure who was responsible for this artwork, but it's great. I love it.
They did a great job.
There. And see, now the fun thing is, those of you on Patreon that get to see are going to get to see this. The rest of you are probably looking on Amazon right now for this. I'm going to see if I can get Mickey Mouse out of the container. Oh, he's got a little bit of a what do you call it? Like I almost want to call it, I pulled his arm completely off.
Yes, because you could change his hands.
Right. But his hand actually is being held in by kind of a oh no, it's not one of the rubbery things. It's actually one of those things. I just slid it out. Okay.
What I usually do, this is just me. I usually go through with the little X-Acto knife behind the scenes and cut those little things so I don't break nothing, because I know how I can be.
And I might have to get the scissors after. I wasn't aware that they were trimmed in there because of the way the box was. But here's Mickey. You can even turn his ears. So if you wanted to like turn his head, well, though, of course, you need to be able to slide the ears around his head. That was what you do. So, but it's kind of funny that you can turn his ears. So you can actually do like weird. I don't know why you would actually have his ears rotate that way, but you could totally turn him into Bat Mickey.
He's so cute. That's my favorite Mickey.
Adorable. Oh my gosh, this is the best Mickey figure, and I've got a lot of those miniatures that they put out at the 100 years. A little stiff around the elbows. I did look on the box. There's a really cute picture of where they've got swappable heads. The other heads for Mickey and Minnie are making kissy faces. And there's a really cute picture on the box of Mickey's kissy face, and he's kissing on Minnie's cheek, and they've got a hand that fits perfectly for her to be like, she's kind of blushing, like one hand on the other cheek as Mickey's kissing the other. And I guess if you do this right, you can have them holding hands together, which is my plan of how I'm going to pose it. And I guess there's very specific hands you'd have to have. And granted, a lot of these hands are pretty much the same. There's right and left because their hands are, it's Mickey and Minnie of the old school. So they're both wearing these white gloves. So they're pretty well matched up. Let's see if I got Minnie, if I need to cut something here out. Minnie's hat apparently does come off. So, but
Yeah,
have
it
we ever
does.
really seen Minnie without a hat or a bow in her hair?
Or a bow, yeah.
Yeah. I'm making a lot of noise. That makes good podcasting when you've got noises.
I personally, and be careful because I didn't realize it, but I personally put some little holes, drilled little holes in Minnie's shoe, but it nearly came through because I didn't realize that unlike Mickey's shoes are hollow, hers are not. And so I was like, whoa, 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 I stopped it. But because I needed more holes because hers are just as little bitty holes on the bottom of her heels. And it wasn't very, yes. I wanted to make sure that she could stand a little more straight. Securely. That was the word I was looking for. Thank you. The phrase because he almost fell over.
Quite straight.
Oh no. No, she's just about to fall over a couple times. I was like, oh, I better do something. But hers, her shoes are solid and Mickey's are hollow.
Yeah, because she's got those high heels on.
One thing I really like though is that his shorts and her skirt are latex. They're real bendy. And
they are. Wow.
Yeah, they're really cool. They and the other thing I like is like at first I was like, I don't know if their legs will bend or will move. They do move. They move perfectly well. You just can't tell at first, but the way they turn and everything.
I'm trying to cut a thing here in the back to get Minnie's hands out. They've got the typical little tabs. I thought for a while it was the almost a clear rubbery things that a lot of the new Master Universe Origins figures have.
Yeah.
They have that rubbery thing that are even kind of hard to cut. I managed to get Mickey out of there without cutting these tabs, but Minnie is just a little too hard to get out with it. Okay, I think I got that one cut. There we go. Come out of there, Minnie. She came out without her hat. Oh, and I popped her hand up. Oh no! The weird thing is she doesn't have her hat on, so only you on Patreon getting to see the video exclusively are going to get to see this. The rest of you are just having to imagine what Minnie looks like without a hand and without a hat.
Ripping off Disney's hands and.
Oh no! But Minnie's got kind of the typical. She starts with hands that are kind of that typical pose where you'd see back in the day, where she's got her hands kind of spread out and she's just kind of like, ta-da! Here I am, but you can, swap the hands out, and I might have to look on the back of the box to see exactly which.
I never thought I'd see you doing that pose. Ta-da! Here I am.
Well, because I got to show the viewers, the people who are watching this, those of you listening to audio, hopefully this is still entertaining. You can hear all the noise of this plastic thing. There we go. Minnie's hat was a little hard to get out of there.
Ta-da!
I guess her ears are what's going to hold that hat in place. There we go.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
And they have these lovely stands that you put them on. But I guess you found that you had a hard time getting where you could only get like one hole in there.
Yeah, for the most part. But that was also before I knew the legs were a little more movable than I realized, too.
Yeah.
At first, they seemed kind of stiff, and I was afraid I was going to break them because toys have done that before.
Yeah.
But they're a little more movable.
For now, I'm just gonna put them out with the regular stuff, and later I'm gonna play around and I'm gonna try to pose them. And I've got a place picked out for them on a shelf downstairs with all of my stuffed characters, where I've got Kermit and Mickey and Minnie and Donald and Goofy and Dumbo. I think I've got a Pluto down there, don't I? Yeah,
I do like that they don't.
Somebody riding around.
I do like that the legs don't break easily. I mean, that they are bendable, but yet not bendable. That's not the word. They're posable, but yet they're not so posable that they're fall over easy. Because some toys have done that before too. They're just so limp, and boom, they're gone. You can't stand them up.
There we go. And you can even pose their little tails.
Yep, I like that too.
I gotta say, Mickey stands up really well without being on a stand, but it's nice to have a stand to be able to put him on.
Oh, because his feet are so solid.
Yeah, there we go. Well, they're standing right now on my desk. Let me once again show these to the camera, because I guess I was looking down and nobody was really getting a chance to see. Hopefully these are showing up really good on camera. I can't tell what I'm seeing. So there they are, out of the box. I love the fabric of Minnie's skirt. It's also the same kind of, or not fabric so much, but a soft, pliable material. Same thing that's over on for her hat.
Isn't that great?
These are fantastic little figures. It cost me a little over $40. I used reward points though to take care of it on Amazon. So, Minnie can be in a nice little ta-da 1930s style pose. You know, she's got her hands up. You know, da-da-da. Oh my gosh, these are fantastic. I've been waiting all week to get these out of the package, and finally I got to take them out right here live for you. Now, Philip, I got something else odd to show you.
What's that?
This is something that now. While I have stated I am not confident in this movie, because when I even heard that Seth Rogen was making it, I was like, please don't let Seth Rogen make this movie.
Yes, I remember.
But here we go.
I saw
Teenage
that.
Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem cereal.
I've been wanting to try
And
it.
I like the design of the turtles really a lot. And I've seen some pictures. Pixel Dan has gotten some of the pictures of some of the toys. The toys look great. Bebop and Rocksteady, I think the toys look better than they do in the movie. The movie that looks weird, and Splinter looks terrible in the movie.
I've not seen the toys yet.
Pixel Dan went and showed some of the toys. They even have a Splinter with baby turtles.
Oh yeah,
which looks kind of cute. So they've done some cute stuff with the toys, and I like the designs. But this cereal here, I haven't tried it yet. Cinnamon apple with marshmallows.
that might be good.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like, you know what? That sounds kind of tasty. And I don't recall that back in the day, because my mom was completely against Ninja Turtles because somebody was going to stab. Yeah, she was one of those parents. So
I remember having cereal of the turtles,
and I never got to have any of that cereal. Never.
but it
did.
wasn't. It was just your regular, basically Lucky Charms type, if I remember right. It was basically. They also had kind of a fruity flavor to it. Since you're showing new cereal. When I saw those, I bought this, which is...
Yes, I bought those today, too.
Yes, isn't that good?
Frosted Lemon Cheerios, they're good. I haven't gotten to try it yet.
Yes, very good. It's kind of a lemon pie type.
Ooh.
As you can see, I've opened mine and I had a handful. Yeah. Oh, it's good.
Oh, I'm gonna give it a shot. Right now, I'm trying to eat through the rest of the cereal that I already have open, but I had to go shopping this morning before I started
always
work,
get cereal.
So.
You know me.
Yep.
Don't take this wrong. They jokingly say I'm a serial killer in the sense that I go through a lot of cereal very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've tried to slow down, and I'm trying to eat a bit more grown-up cereals. I know I've just showed a Ninja Turtle cereal, but see, I did buy some Cheerios, and I've been eating right now Basic 4, I think it is, where it's got some raisins and some nuts and stuff like that. I had some
2 weeks ago. It was good stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I see a lot of these grown-up cereals that I used to not like, now I can enjoy.
Another one I always wanted, besides
Raisin Bran Crunch, I love that too.
That was what I had, was those two. I was like, I've always wondered what these were like. So I tried them, and I ended up doing, when the two boxes were getting close to the end, I mixed them together. It was pretty good.
Well, that could actually mix the Basic form with, and I've also liked the, I think it's called Raisin Nut Bran, where the raisins are covered in like nut
That's what
pieces.
I meant. Yeah, Raisin Nut Bran and that.
Because that's what I'm eating at work, because I save a lot of money and time if I bring a box of cereal to work and I get some milk and I'll sit there and I'll eat cereal for lunch, because I can eat cereal for just about anything. So I've been eating that at work. I thought I had something I was going to say about that other than that, but I can't think. But that's what I have at work. But yeah. The next piece of news, though, that I just wrote down, I think, because I saw something about this. Those of you that are fans of Halloween Horror Nights over at Universal Studios, due to, of course, you do have a series that is premiered, which I haven't watched it. I've played the first game. I do enjoy the first game of The Last of Us. They're actually building a haunted attraction for, of course, Halloween Horror Nights, so it's temporary, of The Last of Us. So all you gamers out there, I think you would have a grand old time experiencing that. I don't know if I buy it digitally, if we're set up to where you can play my stuff if I download it for you digitally. But yeah, The Last of Us, the original one, I definitely recommend.
Oh, I was talking about the show. There's a show of it, I know.
Yes, there's a show of it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to dive in too much because we don't dive into that sort of content.
No.
As far as, because there's a particular episode that had some content that they went.
I forgot that
the game did.
I really did.
The game, though, is worth playing.
Yeah.
The second game, I didn't like what they were doing with it, so I was excited about it. Then I was like, oh, is that going to happen? I don't want to see that happen. No, don't do that. Yeah. So I just didn't play the second game. Well, the next piece of
I was going to say, speaking of games, as you know, one of the first games I ever played on PlayStation. In fact, it was the first game. It was Twisted Metal, and I've been playing a lot of that. and that series I'm looking forward to. That comes at the end of this month, and I can't wait. It's like the 27th.
Haven't talked much about it because that's going to be a hard R type series. I just bet
it's a comedy, I know, but I don't think it's going to be a horror. I think it's going to be more like a goofy. From what I saw a preview yesterday, and it looks like a really goofy. I don't know. I'll look at it and see before we talk about it. But it looks like a real goofy.
But I'm skipping fast because that's not the type of content we bring to this show. That's going to be a pretty hard. I'm sure it's going to be fairly graphic, so we're going to move past it. One thing though, another movie we're not really going to talk about, but we have to talk about that this is happening because it is kind of neat. I have only watched one Deadpool movie. I've been told the second one won't be near as bad because I don't go hard. I mean, a bit of graphic violence I can deal with some. I don't like it though. But you go full on sex scenes and nudity, and like, no, I don't want to see that. So after seeing the first one, and even have a 13-year-old boy who in there like going, I like this movie, Dad, when there was a sex scene going on a giant screen, I was like, okay, no. So I didn't see the second Deadpool, although people have told me so. No, actually, it's a lot better. It's more fun. But Deadpool 3, and it's been rumored for a long time, but we finally got to see some photos. Hugh Jackman shared it. Ryan Reynolds shared it. We've gotten to see Wolverine in the classic, well, not fully classic, but it is a yellow and blue outfit. They're walking around with Deadpool, which is kind of cool, but that's about as much you're going to hear about Deadpool 3 because it's going to be another hard R movie, I'm sure.
The other thing, there's a whole bunch of actors and characters are making appearances from what I understand.
Yeah, it was kind of what they did in that first one. A lot of characters popped up. It was
which is going to be kind of fun. At least they're doing that, but there's going to be a whole bunch of fun comic book characters. It's really weird. To me, Deadpool almost seems like it's in his own reality. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just,
well, this is the first time Disney's actually popping this one out there. So
yeah,
although I'm pretty sure they're sending it out through Fox because that's the only way they're going to they're going to keep everybody happy by keeping it to hard R. Speaking of something else that has earned a hard R rating that I'm disappointed because I was excited, Oppenheimer, and I was just reading an article. People are really up in an uproar because of the age difference between and I have the article still up, but the main there we go. Florence Pugh is like 27, and Cillian Murphy is 47, and the reason why they're upset about that 20-year age gap is there's a full nudity sex scene between the two of them apparently in there, and people are saying, "Ooh, that age gap is kind of creepy when they make them naked." But I guess some people are just arguing, this is something on Yahoo Entertainment. Somebody named Gina G, WGA on strike on Twitter said, "Let women age," but she's not going women. She's going women, and then the A is become an X. So she's one of them peoples. Let women age. Cast women that are the same age as their co-star. That's where they're trying to make a full stuff. But as described by Yahoo in the headline, prolonged full nudity for Florence Pugh and Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer. Adding fuel to the controversy surrounding the 20-year age gap between the actors is the prolonged full nudity and for both Florence Pugh and Cillian Murphy during sex scenes. And it says scenes. So I was excited to see this, but I don't want to go to movies that have that. That is not how I'm wired. I don't approve of that kind of thing. If you go to that, you do that. But I am a believer in Christ. I don't want to go to movies where they're throwing that at me.
You shouldn't have to edit yourself. By that I mean turn around, and I've had to do that before with other films where you have to turn away, and I shouldn't have to be the one.
If the only woman I want to see naked is my wife, and I earned it because I married her. Okay.
You know what I mean?
I don't need to see the
away, because you still
that's
have to
not the way
stuff.
of the world, but that's the way the world should be.
Exactly. I mean, even when I saw Braveheart, which I love, but I still had to turn away.
Yeah, that one scene in there.
You shouldn't have to. I mean, luckily you don't hear anything. But my point is, that you still shouldn't have to. It shouldn't be there.
Right. But that's the way the world is, and but I'm making my stance, and I was super excited. You and I both were super excited to see that movie, but no, I'm sorry, I don't want to see that.
No,
I wanted to see a historical movie about a guy, the people who made the atom bomb and the repercussions of what they did.
Maybe when it comes to home, where I can fast forward quickly and just skip, because I just want to see the historical part. That's all. Yeah.
But why was it even necessary? Do we?
It's not. You and I know that. You and I know that.
They're just now, trying to titillate, and they've got a way now. People are talking about the movie where, in case people weren't interested in the movie, now they're like, "Oh, we're going to see that girl that was in Black Widow. You remember the sister? We're going to see her naked."
Oh, is she in the film? I didn't know.
Yeah, that's.
She's a good actress, but correctly,
I'm going to double check that. But oh, darn it, I forgot. I closed the article on there. But Florence Pugh, I believe, is who played not really a sister, but was like Black Widow.
Stepsister, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Adopted sister, we'll say.
Yeah, she was, and so she was in the Black Widow movie. That's I've confirmed that is her, and she's in Don't Worry, Darling, and Midsummer, and that Little Women, highly feminism version of Little Women and stuff like that. She's apparently in Dune Part 2 as well.
She's in what?
Dune Part 2, and as well.
Oh yeah, I know Dune. Yeah, I haven't seen.
But I don't need to see any more of her than what I normally would see in a movie with her clothes on. Thank you very much. And I'm going to get off my soapbox, and we're going to go to the trailer park.
Mama, another gator got in the house.
Another gator? Give me that shovel. Come here.
Get him, Mama. Get that gator.
The Neverland Trailer Park.
We're going to be in the trailer park for a good long time, my brother. There was so many trailers that have come over the last couple of weeks that, I mean, we got to go. And speaking of Dune Part 2,
He said that. I got that. Thanks.
I won't be fighting for him. I'm fighting for my people.
You young pup. Do you believe in Paul?
There are signs.
The prophet. Why is that a bad thing? Use it. Because all my visions lead to horror.
Because you lose control.
Because I gain it. Johnny, do you believe in me?
Paul Atreides is still alive.
Deal with this prophet. Show me who you are. Your father was a weak man.
Luke comes back from the dead.
Now do what must be done.
We gave them something to hope for.
That's not hope!
I will love you as long as I breathe.
This prophecy is how they enslave us!
It's not a prophecy. It's a story.
I don't care what you believe. I believe. I am Paul Muad'Dib Atreides, Duke of Arrakis.
He who can destroy a thing has the real control of it.
November 3rd, brother.
Good.
And this is what we were talking in the movie theater actually after we were watching Indiana Jones. They're like, oh, by the way, and I was like, oh, dang it, I can't think of what it was. Christopher Walken. I saw him in a trailer. Oh, that's right, the Dune 2 trailer. And I saw your eyes just light up when he popped up in that trailer.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I love them, man. Christopher Walken's one of my favorite dudes.
And I'm gonna have to watch the first one again, so
too.
I remember everything that happened, because it's been a long time since I watched it. Plus, it's been a long time also since I listened to the audiobook of it. Oh my goodness! There's actually a trailer coming up. We're gonna watch later, but not right now.
Yes,
it's coming up. It's just something that just dropped today, but don't say anything.
Just now, before you called me earlier to get this going, I had renewed my Apple TV thing. I just renewed it, and it looks like that was on there, at least the preview.
Yeah, all right. But we're talking about something we're not talking about yet. So hang on to that.
We will
hold that thought. Plus, that will be in theaters, by the way. Okay?
Good.
Dune 2 will be in theaters. Plus, something we're going to do at that very end of our trailer park that just dropped today.
Yes.
Oh, but dude, that looks so exciting. The music looks is fantastic. Here's something also I was telling you about. This is coming to theaters August 25th. It's called Retribution, starring the great Liam Neeson.
Are you going to answer that?
It's not mine.
Hello, Matt. Sorry, who is this?
There is a bomb under your seat. If you... Do I have your attention?
Did I do something to you?
You sound so guilty.
What do you want?
Drive to this location.
Honey, something's happened. There's a man who has put a bomb in the car. Under our seats, there are pressure triggers. We can't get out. The car will explode. We're here.
Listen very carefully, or I kill you. Open the glove box. Shoot him.
Why are you doing this? What have I ever done to you?
Dad!
His life or yours.
Matt, I'm your best friend.
You're a murderer now, Matt.
You think I'm the bomber?
Well, I guess you've had a tough day. I know that you lost a lot of money for your clients who invested in your fund. A lot of people are worried about you. You've got everybody's attention, Matt.
He is still out there. If you can find him, I will.
I'm in control here.
No, you're not. You hurt my daughter, son of a bitch. I will kill you. What's it gonna be?
Drive.
And I'm glad that I'm recording video of this because I realized I never hit the button on the Zoom here to record the audio. So I'm going to rip the audio directly off of this video later because I was trying to look at exactly what time he cursed, so I remember to censor that. That's one of the things that now that I'm running in the Christian market with this show, we try not to have anybody cuss in a trailer, and I forgot that he was going to say that. So thank goodness I am recording this on video because I almost lost the whole thing. But yes, it's a little bit of the plot of Speed, but except for this is somebody who's getting their revenge apparently on Liam Neeson's character. And even the scene where you have Matthew Modine as his friend, he tells him to shoot his friend. Looks like he's refusing to shoot his friend, throws the gun out the car, and then the car with his friend blows up anyway. And he's getting blamed for all the bombings, even though he's a victim. Oh my goodness.
I love Liam Neeson, man. And I know some people, I don't know who, but it wouldn't be me, but some people say that Liam Neeson's movies are pretty much all the same. When you're that good at whatever you do, just do it. I mean, he's good at those types of films, and he makes fun of himself even in that movie. What was it? That film that Mel Gibson was playing the father of. I can't think of his name right now. It was that Christmas version, that Christmas movie that they were doing that Liam Neeson was basically in. I can't think of the name of the film right now. Or they're being dads, like stepdads or whatever, and he was in there playing Santa, basically. Did you see that? Okay. Anyway, you'll see it. Yeah. It was like it was the Stepdads 2 or whatever, and
okay.
Liam Neeson was making fun of himself. They went to see a film, and it was his voice where he was basically mocking himself in the films that he does. It was really funny.
Oh my goodness. But that is once again called Retribution. Is coming here in August. I think I already knocked the screen out of the show. Would have shown what day. I think it's August 28th. Looking forward to checking that one out. Sounds very, very intriguing. But yeah, I mean, as AC/DC has said, I can't remember what member of AC/DC said this, because somebody accused them of all their songs, like they keep writing out the same song and putting out the same song over and over again. And somebody from AC/DC said, yeah, but it's a really good song. And so Liam Neeson doing maybe the same type of movies over and over. Yeah, but it's a good movie.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Next trailer on our list. Those of you, I was not a fan of the Nickelodeon series, but Netflix has got an Avatar: The Last Airbender live action series coming 2024. So those of you who are fans of this, you probably might be excited for this. It's got to be better, I guess, than that movie that I guess disappointed all of you. I would hope. It's a short teaser, really. I don't know if there's really any audio other than we're looking at these symbols for the different nations.
Oh, yeah.
The elements. That's pretty much all this little tease is. But I was going to bring it up that this is happening. don't know how long ago it really was from the animated series, but they're doing a live action, I guess, adaptation for Netflix coming 2024. So those of you that were fans of the cartoon, you might be interested in that. Those of you who are like that, you're probably also going to be interested in this, an anime that I've watched like one episode of. My wife has watched a lot more, but there is a live action movie coming also to Netflix based off of One Piece. And this actually looks kind of fun.
Ever since I was a kid.
Oh.
The sea's been calling. So, I'm setting out to follow my dreams. I'm gonna be king of the pirates. All I need is a loyal crew. And I think together we'd make a pretty good team. We're heading up to the Grand Line.
A treacherous stretch of ocean with bigger islands and bigger pirates. Careful with that.
I don't work for you. I'm sensing a little bit of tension amongst the crew.
Not a crew.
We haven't sailed together for very long, but I know we've got each other's backs. All great fighters call out their finishing moves. No, they don't.
August 31st, this is coming to Netflix, and I like the fact that they're kind of making fun of themselves, like in a lot of anime and even like Street Fighter 2, you know, they always call out their final move or whatever their move is, you know, and so I like that they make fun of that at the end. It's like, oh, you know, all great fighters call out their moves. No, they don't.
No, they don't.
And, you know, it doesn't look too bad with his weird stretchy abilities that he has. You know, it's going to look a little off, but it doesn't look bad for maybe early work on the CG. I think that, you know, him stretching out, it looked fairly realistic for how realistic it can look when your arm is stretching out like that. But it looks like a lot of fun, and it looks like they've also made the decision to where the one girl, from everything I've seen, I guess she just runs around in a bikini top all the time, but they decided to put a shirt on her for this.
Good.
So not make the actress run around in a bikini top all the time.
His stretching out looked fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, hopefully everybody got that joke.
Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, Mr. Fantastic. But that actually looks fun. I'm not that familiar with the main story of One Piece. Like I said, I've seen one episode of it. My wife recently resubscribed to Crunchyroll. I'm sure I could sit and watch One Piece there at some point, or it's probably on Netflix still.
Speak of anime, I watched a Superman anime on HBO Max this week.
Yeah, it's actually on Adult Swim. I watched the first episode.
That's pretty interesting.
I forgot to put that down as something I watched this week. It was called something like My Friend Superman or Adventures with Superman.
Adventures with Superman. It was interesting.
Yeah, and they did some race swapping.
Yeah, I saw that.
But the thing that's weird is I always find it funny when they're going to show Clark Kent as a child and they have him wearing glasses, because why would he be wearing glasses as a child?
Yeah,
He wears them as disguise. He doesn't need them.
I'm not a huge anime fan, but I don't dislike it necessarily either.
Yeah. And it wasn't really so much an anime, but it definitely had that style.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty good first episode. There were some things that I was kind of like, the animation was good. Yeah. It could be fun going forward. I don't like their design of Lois, though. The weird pixie cut kind of looked weird for Lois. But they're going with the idea of Lois and Jimmy and Clark being interns at the Daily Planet and trying to earn their spots. And of course, Lois is going to go after a story no matter what, and of course gets herself into trouble. And so Clark has not come out to be full on Superman yet. He hasn't gotten his costume in that first episode. But so HBO Max does have at least the first episode, I guess, by now, right?
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah. I know there's more.
YouTube had the first episode up. That's how I watched it.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to see where they go with this for a Superman series. You kind of take it as kind of a very alternate version, and it is similar to the Superman animated series where they kind of had to power him down a little bit so they could actually have him get hurt. Because he does get beat down a little bit there.
They did that in the 1980s when they had the new DC world after everything happened. They had to basically give him more weaknesses and all that, make him some villains, which I don't blame him, because they said it was almost like there was nothing you could do with Superman. It was just too much.
if he's too powerful, it's hard to find a way to where you get a good story out of him.
Yeah.
He has to overcome the odds somehow.
I am looking forward to seeing what they do with the new DCU because, according to them, to the guy who's behind it now, what's his name again? The guy who did the Guardians of the Galaxy?
James Gunn. Yeah.
James Gunn. Yeah. I should be able to remember that. Anyway, according to him, what they intend to do is have it to where whoever plays him in the movies and all that, that guy
It'll be
looks
the
good.
same one as the voice.
Same one as the cartoons, which I think is a good idea. So it's not as confusing. But anyway.
Yeah, it's the same thing Disney's been trying to pull off with Marvel, and it gets kind of dangerous after a while because you have to watch every daggum thing, and you get kind of tired of watching it. And they're having a superhero fatigue problem right now.
Yeah.
Now, here's something I wouldn't have thought I was going to be that interested in. I've played a little bit of one of these games, but I do know that the guy who created this is a good Christian guy.
Oh, really?
And so his success I really appreciate. Coming October 27th, right in time for Halloween, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, yeah.
The kids are going to love this.
Hi, this is Mike. I was just calling to see if that job that you offered was still available.
Yes. The security guard.
I will take anything.
This place was huge in the 80s with the kids. They shut it down years ago. The owner's just not ready to let it go yet.
I will work and you will sleep.
I understand.
Give me your hand.
All you have to do is keep your eyes on the monitor.
Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's, where fantasy and fun come to life.
Okay.
You must be new security guard.
Can I help you, officer?
Have you met them yet?
Met who?
Them.
I know him.
In the 80s, kids went missing. The police searched Freddy's top to bottom.
Hello?
They never found them. That's why the place shut down.
There are ghost children possessing giant robots. Thanks for the heads up.
Technically, they're animatronics.
What do they want?
They want to make her like them.
Happy?
Tell me how to stop them.
It's too late.
Bobby, go!
Where to? Why do I always get the weirdos?
So it'll be in theaters and in on Peacock. Now, what I like about this is this is actually being written by the guy who created the game series and the story of all this. And being that he's a good Christian guy, he's going to keep it clean. He's going to keep it enough where families can go and enjoy. And he knows the kids are the ones that really love these games.
Yeah, I've seen toys in all of them.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't get into it. I played it on the mobile version on my phone, but I can't. My head doesn't wrap around the fact that, okay, how come I have a limited power supply and I can't leave the room? There's game mechanics that are clearly game mechanics that they lose some of the realism. But this became popular from a lot of people who were playing it and streaming it online. In fact, the guy you see as the cab driver is somebody that people were recognizing as one of the people who made the game popular because he was streaming playing it all the time. So he gave him a cameo.
That's kind of fun.
But this looks like it'll be something, he's going to make it to where, you can bring your kids and the whole family can come and get scared and have some fun watching this. So I'm excited to go and check it out. Five Nights at Freddy's.
I kind of like that it has that Showbiz Pizza look. Remember the old Showbiz Pizza? Even before it became Chuck E. Cheese, it had that old Showbiz Pizza look about it. That's kind of fun,
Yep. Yeah, apparently Chuck E. Cheese was first, but we're not around here in Kansas City.
Not around here.
Showbiz Pizza, and Chuck E. Cheese just took us over.
Yeah, it took us over.
That was part of the idea of this, is that it's one of those old type of pizza parlor places that something spooky happens and all the animatronics are coming to life and coming to get you.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. He's expanded the story and even had where the Freddy Fazbender is actually the ghost possessing that one is actually trying to stop all of this. And you see him running around with the little girl to where I guess that's the idea of what he's doing. He's got some books he's written. And I mean, when I was driving a school bus, even for a while, the kids would debate all the different things of what's really going on with all the different games. Kids were just crazy about these.
I'd hear my nephews and all talk about it,
Oh, yeah. Your nephews are going to love this.
Yeah.
So I'm actually pretty excited for that. I'm also pretty excited for this one, brother. You can't take the Disney out of me.
Wait!
Oh, yes.
I should warn you before you step inside the house. This could change the course of your entire life.
I'm not afraid of a couple ghosts.
You say that now.
This mansion is unhinged.
These ghosts definitely don't want to leave.
Death lurks around every corner. God, give us a break. There's so many bad people in the world. Haunt them.
Amen.
I do like surprises.
Is anybody else seeing this?
I hope you do too.
We're gonna fight, whether we like it or not.
Or else we're stuck here for eternity.
If this comes down to an exorcism, we're in big trouble.
This house is dripping with souls, but there's always room for one more.
My friend was mugged.
He was tall. He had hair that was sticking out of a top hat.
Top hat.
Yes. He had,
So
nice
a top hat.
You would pull a rabbit out of it, probably.
Eyes.
They were a bit sunken.
Sunken eyes.
Like a raccoon.
Beady
They
eyes.
set back. And he was smiling like that.
This kind of thing.
Exactly.
Is this the man who mugged you?
Wow. You just did that just now?
July 28th, Haunted Mansion. Not the Haunted Mansion. That's how they're differentiating from the previous movie just by calling this one Haunted Mansion. And it looks a lot of fun. They've got a lot more of the ride involved this time. I'm pretty excited for that. That looks just great. And apparently this trailer came out like a month ago, and somehow or another I missed it because I don't really pay attention to Disney so much anymore. But oh, looky there, it's another Haunted Mansion movie, and it's, oh my gosh, this actually looks fun. So Philip is getting a phone call, so I'm just going to keep the show rolling by playing some special audio that I found where they talk about it. There's a little featurette. This is short, but it's a little bit more about the Haunted Mansion.
Sir, can I look?
Wait, you hear something?
We're making a movie.
In Haunted Mansion, I wanted everything to feel as if it came right off of the ride.
When I walked through the set, oh my goodness.
It's powerful to see it.
The level of detail from the bus down to the wallpaper.
You just felt like this really feels haunted.
It's kind of amazing seeing the Haunted Mansion come to life.
What we wanted to do is preserve the details that fans remembered and expand the universe around them.
What is this place?
It's a seance room.
Maybe I'll just do a little blessing and get us started. God, give us a break.
Amen.
The thing that makes the ride so cool is that the mansion already has a history,
This place is legendary.
and our characters are discovering it.
If we don't solve this mystery, we're stuck here for eternity. I summoned Madame Leota!
For me, the secret to this movie was always going to be the ensemble.
It was one of those great casts. Everybody loves each other.
We bonded. It was fun to go to work every day.
It was so much fun. We laughed a lot.
It's a unique story with moments of levity and fun. And there's a lot of scares as well.
When audiences come out of the theater, I want want them to be like, whoa, wait a minute, hold up. I'm scared, but I want to do it again.
Be careful. Death lurks around every corner.
So this we've even got the Hatbox Ghost in here. We've got a little nod to the original story that was going to be like of the fisherman pirate guy and the flooding room and stuff like that. We've got nods to all even the original stuff. Just oh my goodness, they put so much into this that how can you not be excited if you're a fan of the Haunted Mansion at all? And
it looks like a lot of fun.
Oh yes, I'm wigging out. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. Oh, so yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yep. That's coming out later this month in just a couple more weeks, man. Oh my gosh. So, oh yeah, we're going. But now here's something you've been waiting for. Something I didn't know was happening until today, coming November 22nd. It's going to be in theaters, also on Apple Plus TV. Joaquin Phoenix, under director Ridley Scott. The last time they worked together that I really remember seeing something was Gladiator, and my goodness, Joaquin Phoenix was so good in that. Mm-hmm. Napoleon.
He'll be good.
No doubt you've seen the chaos in the streets. We must make an example, or France will fall. What would you do if this assignment of defense was transferred to you?
I promise you brilliant successes.
Everyone around here.
What is this costume you have on?
This is my uniform.
Everyone so near.
I led the French victory at Toulon.
What is your name?
Napoleon.
As the course of my life just changed. Napoleon.
I'm destined for greatness. But those in power will only see me as a sword.
I suggest you take the throne as a king.
Holding on.
Shall we vote?
This vermin has held the world hostage with his egotism and his lack of simple good manners.
You think you're great? You are just a tiny little brute that is nothing without me.
All of Europe is uniting forces against me.
What's the outcome of this if you don't succeed?
Your Majesty, we are discovered.
Good.
Guys, it's a trap!
I'm the first to admit when I make a mistake. I simply never do.
So this is expected this Thanksgiving. Nice historical drama directed by Ridley Scott and from a screenplay by David Scarpa. Napoleon stars Joaquin Phoenix as the French emperor and military leader. This film is original and personal look at Napoleon's origins and his swift, ruthless climb to emperor, viewed through the prism of his addictive and often volatile relationship with his wife and one true love, Josephine, played by Vanessa Kirby. Film captures Napoleon's famous battles, relentless ambition, and astounding strategic mind as an extraordinary military leader and war visionary. It looks cool.
Yeah, it does look good.
I'm very interested. I like a good historical drama anyway.
Yeah, me too.
A great historical figure. And because I don't remember, how, because eventually France kind of turned on him and he got locked up.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm kind of wondering, like, what's changed?
His ego, much like the actor, his ego, he's kind of, I mean, I like him, but he's kind of an oddball. But his ego, talking about Napoleon's, his ego is his downfall too. His ego, he had a very strange ego because he felt bad about being short. It was one weird thing. That's where they call it a Napoleon complex.
Napoleon complex, yeah.
Because he felt weird about that, and so he was a very egotistical individual, and in some ways for the weirdest ways. But he wanted to. Well, we know his name. We know his name. That's for certain. But my father and brother got to go to where his Waterloo battle happened, and they was talking about a lot of things they got to see there. It's very interesting. Some of the things they talked about from seeing it. But yeah, he was an interesting man. Not one you'll forget about. That's for certain.
Yeah.
Left his mark on history.
Yeah, he did, and I'm definitely interested in checking that
me too.
out. I like a good historical piece.
Oh,
when done
yeah.
well. So, all right, and now it's time for a movie review. All right, I know we're a couple of weeks behind on this now with our review of the movie.
Yes, we
Indiana
are.
Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
At least a week and a half, right? I mean, at least.
Yeah, it's been a
About
couple
a week
of
and
weeks
a half.
since
Yeah.
it came out.
Yeah.
It has, but we're finally getting a chance to talk about it.
Yeah. Because we don't like to
starring
ruin
Harrison
anything
Ford
for
and-
anybody, we really
Right.
don't.
Yeah, Harrison Ford, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Antonio Banderas in a surprise spot. Somebody that I'm
Yes.
not going to say because it'd be too much of a ruin.
I would have thought that he'd have been a bigger character
Wilson.
when I first heard he was going to be in it.
Yeah,
Because he's not a small name.
yeah, he's a big name. I mean, golly, but you got Toby Jones in there, Mads Mikkelsen, a lot of big name people playing
Yes.
but I've also brought up the IMDb list because getting some of the names right.
Oh,
It's
yes.
Dr. Voller is the Mads Mikkelsen.
Yes.
Because there's some of the German names were kind of hard to
Oh,
get through. So
yes, I
the
know.
one thing I will say about going back to Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, it's
I watched it.
fun, it's
It is.
watchable, it's not great, but it's
No.
watchable.
It's about
And
half
that's
good.
the same case that I'm giving this one.
Yes,
It's
me too.
watchable. You'll probably have some fun, but it's not that good.
I take both of them as they're not. I think both are good, but both are not great. This is my personal opinion. I like this one slightly better, but only because, and that's not anything about the directing on either one, but only because in this one I felt like when it ends, it has a good kind of done ending thing, but
which the last one did too.
that
good way
last
to
one did
wrap
too.
everything.
But for me, and I watched Last Crusade about twice this year. One was with my nephew, and one was alone. And it's amazing. I've never quite seen it until this year. And then after I got done watching it, I watched someone online, like on YouTube, watching it, and he had the exact same thought as me. And that was that the first half of Crystal Skull was a really fun Indiana Jones movie, and the second half is not. And this is my second. This is just my thought. The first seemed very Spielberg, and the last part of Crystal Skull seemed very Lucas, almost too sci-fi-ish and all. This I don't get that from this as far as one director, because there's only one guy. We know that.
Yeah.
But I
James
will
Mangold
say.
here.
But I will say about this new film, I don't want to give too much away in case someone hasn't seen it. I don't want to give too much. We could talk a little bit about it because, but in both films, they're Indiana Jones-ish in certain spots, but where in the other one, to my Crystal Skull, they went a little far out of the realm of the Indiana Jones that we're used to, more historical and not legend,
and more of a supernatural legend.
Supernatural
was what we're used to in the original trilogy.
Yeah,
they went
and this-
sci-fi with the last one, and with this one went
in
sci-fi
this
as
one.
well.
Now, I know that originally, from what I saw, what I had read, Lucas always had intended to do more films and have some sci-fi stuff involved with it, but you didn't in the first three, so it's a little harder for us to take it. And the other thing, I know maybe they did the comics. I remember there was some of that, but that still is comics. It's a little different. Yeah. And then the other thing is with that in this, I mean, at least because they did it in the fourth one, it was a little easier for me to swallow in this one because you'd already done it. You already kind of passed that thing, that supernatural. I mean, the sci-fi thing. But also with this one, for the whole Indiana Jones feeling. In this one, you've already get this idea that Indiana Jones, not in the first part of the film, because the first part was great, the first 20 minutes. But in this film,
because it's the flashback, and we get like
it was great. It was
a pretty decent CGI.
They did it. Yeah, they did that. I mean, you get a few little moments where you can see little things where you're like, okay, that's not quite hitting. But for what they could do, and here's the thing, it really is Harrison Ford. It's Harrison Ford doing the action, and they go over
doing
it
the talking and still sounding like an 80-year-old man.
Yeah, but they went back over it with maybe a 40-year-old voice here and there with the the CGI or whatever you want to call it, the audio. And then they went back over it with his own picture. Like they said, they went over it with pictures of him throughout the years, of different films. And he came off kind of a mid to late 30-ish, look. And he did pretty good. I loved it, that part of it. And then the later on, it was kind of like he wasn't Indiana Jones like after that through most of it, because it was as if he had retired from who he was because of what had happened in his life. Until
this movie it's depressing. It's about him being depressed.
Yes.
That's why like, the entire plot of the movie, and that's what pulled it from. Instead of feeling like an Indiana Jones movie, it felt like a study in depression, which doesn't get resolved until the very end of the movie. We finally cure his depression by something that happens.
And that's also why you don't get as much. You get some of it, but it's why you also don't get as much of the Indiana Jones music until he starts becoming himself again. But
which he doesn't really, because at the end he's given up at the end of the film, and what you've heard about the end of the film, I'm not going to say what it is, does happen. Yes,
it's not quite the way I first heard of it, and so
it happened exactly the way I heard it, and that was already something I was like, well, please, I hope they decided not to do that, but no, it was still there, and they completely just shut down a character that you grew up with as a child. He doesn't get over his depression until something changes after an incident that happens that the people really were upset about when it leaked that this was going to happen, and it did happen.
I personally thought it was really good. It just wasn't. The first three are set on I'm talking about the first three films are set on a great course that they're wonderful, but none of them to me will ever beat that first movie. To me, Raiders of the Lost Ark is A+, and Last Crusade is A, and Temple of Doom is, we'll say, A minus. Yeah. And then this new one, I'll put it a B, and
I wouldn't even give it that.
And I'll give Last Crusade, out of kindness, I'll give it a B minus. This is just me personally. I'll give it a B minus. You mean
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? Because Last Crusade.
That's what I said. Oh,
I'd give Last Crusade an A+. That one, I put it on up there at the same level as Raiders. I love the Last Crusade so much.
I just didn't like it as much as. I didn't like it as much as the Raiders of the Lost Ark, but I still love it. I love all the first three, and I even like this one even better in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Here's something else I didn't know until just a week ago. I didn't know that Sean Connery was going to be in Kingdom of Crystal Skull, but he didn't like the scene they had for him as enough to come out of retirement. So I can understand that, but it would have been nice just to have one scene because I love Henry.
Just that one little bit, yeah. I would give this one the same ranking I'd give Kingdom of Crystal Skull, where it's a C. It's about an average movie, and you're gonna have a good time watching it.
Yeah, that's fun.
I don't know if I necessarily recommend going to the theater, but it's worth watching. You're gonna have a good time watching it. But this one had so many problems that you're gonna point out, and I do love if you all watch the pitch meeting things by comedian Ryan George, where he'll go through and he'll kind of make fun of how they were pitching this movie and all the things that are like really, really off. He named out a lot of what I had pulled out, including one where the bad guy basically dies in the first 20 minutes, but then he's miraculously alive. And he did confirm what I was thinking, that the guy takes that hit in the head, not the chest, and it should have killed him. That was like the primary. But then a lot of other things listed, like how in the world do you manage to get a piece of dynamite when you're being watched by the bad guys? How does the engine being blown up in a boat suddenly start working again and get you back? How does the bridge miraculously come back when that got broken? There's so much stuff that's like, who wrote this? Not Lucas and any of his people, not Lawrence Kasdan or anybody who might have written actually a decent script. But like I said, it's still fun. But there's so many problems with the story.
Plus, unfortunately, in the Indiana Jones films, they're based off the old serials. And all of them, and I'm talking even Raiders of the Lost Ark, have a lot of things. That one is the least of the problems, but they all have things that are a little hokey in things that happen because they're based off the old serials, and so they all have.
There's a way you can be hokey and make it work.
Yeah,
just a little hokey and it works and it's fun. This one is just like, wait a minute.
One thing that's cool that I didn't even realize they did in this film it never occurred to me because I just never looked. But the other day I saw this picture I thought was amazing, that they made this mask that the stunt people wore that make them look like Harrison Ford. And it looks,
you can put the computer version of his face on there anyway.
They could,
too,
but they made these masks so that, but it's so cool looking. It looks so good that it showed this guy wearing the mask, and I thought, oh my gosh, that is of course, who knows how much these masks cost to make these things. But it looked so amazing that it really looked like it when he was riding on it, and I was like, wow, that looks like good here. But look it up. Some of these masks they wore, it looked like him basically. We won't say frowning, but kind of just like a standstill face. And I thought that's pretty cool that they could do that. You know, it had to be hot for the stuntman though, wearing a mask like that. Holy cow!
Yeah. But this is the lowest opening up for an Indiana Jones movie at only 60 million when it opened, and yet Helena, whatever, well, the woman who played Helena is still going on. Phoebe Waller-Bridge has been going on. It's like, oh, just wait till you get to see the series I'm in. She's still apparently plugging it. It's like, I don't know that you're going to get it because this is not doing well. In fact, this movie got beat by a movie that I still want to go see, The Sound of Freedom, which was a small independent movie that Disney passed on because Fox had made it. Disney decided not to do it. They took it over to Netflix. Netflix didn't want it. They put it out in theaters, and this thing, for only having a limited opening, beat the heck out of Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And heck, I even was looking up. It's like, well, what people are seeing? What are people saying? The Metascore right now, 58. Based on 65 critics, the user score is even a 4.2 out of 10. This is clearly the worst of the franchise, and that's saying something considering King of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah,
and I think the biggest problem I have is not so much that they did it as science fiction, that they don't even really explain very well, but it's the fact that the movie is a depressed Indiana Jones, that he's got good reason to be depressed, and it added some heart to it when you get some reasons for it. But we don't go to see Indiana Jones to see him be depressed the entire movie.
Yeah.
And they really lost, and it's the same thing they did with Luke Skywalker and Han Solo, where they divorced him and killed him off. They don't seem to realize we don't want you to do these to our childhood heroes. We don't like that.
Maybe if they'd had, even if they decided to do a depressed thing, if they learned to change it around during the beginning, maybe not the beginning, but I mean the beginning of him coming back in the middle of the movie, because you're right. It's sad to see these people. I mean, depression's a part of life, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
bad things happen to people. But we don't want to see that with our heroes that are not built around depression.
Yeah, because the truth is, our heroes are made to help us to feel good. Though I did enjoy the film.
Yeah.
Better than I thought.
It's enjoyable. You can watch and have a good time. But
maybe it's because I heard so much about how this is going to be the worst film ever made or whatever. Sometimes it helps me to see a film and I end up enjoying it, because when you hear that you're going to see something bad and you end up, oh, that wasn't bad.
Low expectations. You come in like, oh, well, it could have been worse.
Well, no, I mean,
and there's some genuinely fun.
Yeah, there was a lot of fun part. And as I was telling you, when I saw it with you, which I seen it the day before. So when I saw it with you, one of the fun parts of it was the foreshadowing and stuff I saw. I was like, oh, hey, there's a lot of neat foreshadowing things that, of course, I didn't see it the first time, because why would I? Why would I see that?
The ending thing. Although it was kind of getting, I could see things coming. It's like, I think I know where this is going.
Same here, but seeing it the second time, it was more than obvious, things, because you already know what's gonna happen.
Right.
But there's a lot of fun things and a lot of good actors in it. Even
that definitely was
character actors and others that you've seen on other things that you're like, oh, hey, that's cool. I like that guy. And I'm used to seeing him as a villain, and they have him as a good guy, and that's kind of fun because you'd like to see how they can switch stuff up.
Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely worth watching. It may not be worth going to the theater.
John Williams. Oh man, you can't beat that guy. That guy is the best.
He felt like kind of what I felt like with the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Like,
yes,
the trend in Hollywood is where they're burying the soundtrack underneath stuff now. It's not, you don't want to have a big boisterous soundtrack anymore. So I feel like they buried John Williams underneath stuff to where I didn't really notice that many themes going on.
That's what I had with maybe not the theme part, but with episode 1 of Star Wars. You didn't get the Star Wars theme much until the end. And that's kind of what you get in this, but
you got new themes that you could hear and recognize throughout the movie.
I recognize a new theme
for the prequels.
I recognize a new theme for her just a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
a little bit of themes for her, but I'm telling you, John Williams has brought us some of the greatest themes, in my opinion, the greatest themes of all time, maybe of all time.
Oh yeah, he's definitely he's the king.
He is the king.
He's the maestro.
Yeah,
you just can't top him. So, but I wish they would unleash him a little bit more and let him do what we know he can do. Because I felt like they're holding him back through the sequel trilogy and in this one. I feel like they're holding him back.
He's just too good.
But jumping in from there into just main content of sharing some fun memories, and I even went Indiana Jones Wiki. What I probably could have done is, I bet you have this too. The what is it? DK books. Where they make those big table books. I've actually got a table book of Indiana Jones, and they even like timeline out all this different stuff that was happening in comics.
The comics and the young, whatever you call it, Young Chronicles.
Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Well, they kept changing the title of that. I don't know if you've noticed that. They've changed the title of that series a few times now, and they even changed the way it was originally presented to us. Because originally, it was a series that was a 1 hour thing. And it had,
they had a big 2-hour premiere thing for TV too.
And it had an old man who originally was going to be the old Indiana Jones. And they took him out, because he was kind of silly and overboard. They had him with a patch on his eye.
Yeah,
and they had him as a belittled old man. He was kind of dumb and ignorant. And they're like, "Oh, we don't want to do it at the Indy." And they're smart to do that, especially now we have him at that age, basically.
Right.
And he didn't look like Harrison.
Yeah, I've seen like the pictures. He didn't look like how are we supposed to believe that was Harrison Ford at all?
And honestly, that actor who they got, and I don't want to put the guy down, Sean, whatever his name was, not a bad actor, but he was not Indy either. He was the young man was not Indy either.
Yeah. I think River Phoenix had even died by this point, and they wanted to go. I think even predating the River Phoenix.
It was just a little before that, little before that. But the truth be told, River Phoenix behaved like Harrison did.
Yeah. Oh,
this guy didn't though. He just he was too shy, too nice, he just didn't have it. But I will say some of the stories were good. Some of the stories were good in there, but some were not. But now the comic book was a different thing, because in the comic book, when you're reading it, this is how it is in comics. When you're reading the Batman '89, you're hearing Michael Keaton. You're hearing Jack Nicholson. You're hearing Danny DeVito, whoever. When you're reading the comic books of the Christopher Reeve Superman, you're hearing Christopher Reeve. You're hearing Lex Luthor. He's Gene Hackman or whatever. And the same with the Indiana Jones comic book. You could hear Harrison Ford. I was the same way with the Star Wars ones that are meant to look like, or the Star Trek that's based off of these. They call them Star Trek Season 4. And I'm hearing William Shatner. I mean, those are really great comics because they're made to be like the show or like the comic or like the movie, I mean to say. And they do a good job with that. I think so, anyway.
All right. But anyways, diving into memories that we were aiming for here. The funny part about this is, I've said this many times before, even with the Star Wars trilogy, I saw Star Wars.
Yes.
Then I read a novelization of Empire, and then I saw Return of the Jedi, and then I saw Empire Strikes Back later. And this is over a large course of time. It's almost a similar thing with this one, because Raiders, what I saw first, because Raiders came out in '81, so I would have been 4 years old. And the only clips I saw of this was Tote's face melting and all this stuff at the end. I was like, I don't think I want to watch this. That was horrifying. So then Temple of Doom comes out, and I remember when we rented the Temple of Doom, I was like, this is the face melting movie. I don't know. I was like, everybody says that Indiana Jones is great, but we get a heart getting ripped out of a guy. And I had to walk out of the room. I was like, what in the world? But I ended up watching all of it. But Temple of Doom is not where you should start these. But that's the first one I saw.
Even though
that was the impression it gave me. And so I went a long time. I was like, well, I don't really want to watch Raiders because this is horrible, grotesque, and this nasty, and I don't want to watch it. And so, Last Crusade came out. I'm like, oh, but that looks good. And Sean Connery. And I wanted to see it. So I'd seen Temple of Doom. And I remember at some point when Last Crusade was coming, I was like, well, we've got Raiders Lost Ark. I see it on a videotape we recorded off HBO. I fell asleep watching it, but I was liking what I had seen. But I'd been watching it late by myself, and I fell asleep. So I don't think I saw Raiders in completion because I'd seen bits of it, but I didn't see it in completion until after I'd seen The Last Crusade.
Oh, wow.
And then I'd come back, and in fact, I think I hadn't watched all of Raiders all the way through until there was like a special event. They were showing an original print at a theater, and I think Heather and I went while we were still dating. That's the first time I would think I remember seeing Raiders of the Lost Ark from beginning to end, all the way through, without seeing it this bit, and then I've seen that bit, and then I've seen that bit, and I've seen that bit. That's the first time I think I saw the whole thing. And then, of course, I bought DVDs and stuff, and so, you know, I've seen it many times since then, but that's the first time I remember actually seeing from start to finish without seeing it. You know, well, I saw this clip, and where, you know, there's a lot of movies I've seen enough of it to where I've kind of seen the whole movie. I just haven't seen it all in order. And that's what Raiders was for the longest time.
That's
I was
awesome.
never catching it because as you get later on, you don't really have it being shown on TV as much.
Well,
but Temple of Doom I'd seen at least a few times after I'd kind of gotten used to like the heart being ripped out and stuff, and realized that's not the whole movie.
I had.
And we even
I
did a
was
thing
very
in
blessed.
school on Temple of Doom. We actually watched the making of Temple of Doom in middle school.
I was very blessed. My grandma took us all out to the movies to see it. You know, me and my cousins and all, we went out to see it several times. My father took us too. So with my grandma alone, she took us 5 times to see Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh my goodness!
And oh yeah, she'd take us all in there, mostly us boys, because there's 6 boys. And and these weren't the cheap theaters; these were the expensive. My grandma she was so wonderful. I loved her so much. She was a great woman. She'd take us, and because she knew we loved it, and we did. We just loved that movie. We loved adventure, and we'd go out. We'd all play as Indiana, and then we'd yeah. I mean, and I put on this brown cowboy hat because I thought that was the same thing. Wasn't, of course, but you know, closest as I had, you know. So then my dad took us a couple times to see it too. We all loved it, and then when Temple of Doom came out, I loved that too. I remember saying we'd go on vacation. We didn't have much money, believe it or not. So that was our vacation time. We'd stay here at home and we'd go out and do things. And we'd go out and see Indiana Jones. And we saw, I think, Top Secret and Gremlins all in the same week.
Oh, goodness.
And now that was all a lot of fun for us. We went out to Children's Palace, and I remember getting Gremlins.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember we went
Toy
to
Store
World
for
of
Kids
Fun.
and a whole lot more.
Oh yeah, we went to World of Fun, and I was on Orient Express. This is the day after I saw Temple of Doom, and I was like, oh, you know, that not so funny. I was talking like short round, and then we went on, and Fury of the Nile opened up, and it was like a Temple of Doom type of thing in a lot of ways. And so when I think of Temple of Doom, which I love, it was a lot like that to me. It's like it reminded me of Fury of the Nile. It brings it all back to me, and I love that. And then of course, Last Crusade '89 is one of my favorite years. You get Lonesome Dove, my favorite movie, with Batman and all these wonderful things. I love those original Indiana Jones, and I even like a lot. I like these new ones, but boy, Indiana Jones means a lot to me. I think of the toys, and now they're bringing out the old toys again. I've got them, and Jeremy, you'll like this. It's on its way. I ordered the horrible LJN Indiana Jones action figure. It's on its way.
Yeah.
I collect a bunch of stuff. My dad was a big Indiana Jones collector, and that's what he left me before he passed away. Is a lot of things, including all those, and some of those things were stolen from me. But I still have a lot of the things he left me. And so when I think of Indiana Jones, I think of my daddy.
Yeah,
that's a lot of what I.
What movie was it we were at the drive-in? I'm pretty sure you were at. I think it was when we were doing right after Vacation Bible School. The Last Crusade was actually playing in the screen behind us. I don't remember what movie we were watching, but we kept looking back to see what was happening in The Last Crusade. Couldn't hear it.
I don't remember if I was with you or not, but I know. I know that
because we were looking back.
I know that if we did, maybe Batman came out that same year. I know Honey, I Shrunk the Kids came out that year.
It probably was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Probably.
Because we saw that in the drive-in at least once, and Mom wanted to see that multiple times.
I remember that.
You know,
I
bet that's what it was, because I think I'd already seen Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, so we kept looking back to see what was happening on The Last Crusade.
I loved. That was a good movie, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. But '89 had a lot of great shows come out that year.
Yeah. Oh, indeed. There's a lot of years that are great for movies.
Yeah.
But anyway. Somewhere I actually have, I've probably got it stocked away. I found at a comic convention the film comic book adaptation of Raiders of the Lost Ark. I have one. I have not read through it because I'm trying to keep it in good shape.
Marvel.
But it's not the individual comics. It is the collected comic. But
and
still
they'd be a little thicker.
Stuff.
And sometimes I don't know about this one. I don't know about this one. But sometimes when they bring out that Marvel, I think DC did it too sometimes, but they'd bring them out and they'd have just a little bit like a film reel on the side sometimes.
Yeah. Just to make it say like, yeah, this is the film adaptation. And
they did that on Conan the Barbarian, you know. They had Conan the Barbarian, which is Marvel, and And I have the first one of that. There was like a 3, and I got the first one of that. And it kind of looks like the movie poster, but kind of not. That's kind of fun though. I love it. I love Conan. I love all that stuff back then.
But yeah, so that's some. I should have collected people's memories about Indiana Jones and watching it as they grew up, but I didn't get really a chance to, and stuff like that. But yeah, this was a major part of probably partially my childhood, but more, I guess, my pre-teen years. And when we get up to The Last Crusade, because Last Crusade is still probably my favorite, just because Sean Connery. But yes, I love Raiders. And I got to put them on the same level because they're both brilliant. Temple of Doom is still, of the original 3, is still my least favorite of the 3, but I still enjoy it. Mainly when you get to that point, when that movie just turns around and it's like, okay, let's get out of here. And when Harrison Ford just looks over, all of us. Yeah. And that movie just turns right there, like, go Indy, go Indy.
I love there's so many things back then that tried to be on the Indiana Jones level. I'm sure you remember a lot of those movies and games, Pitfall. They tried to be Indiana Jones-ish or like, and we would love it just because of that. Because Indiana Jones, just like Star Wars, really captured. Lucas was brilliant, and then Spielberg being with it was great. Do you know that Spielberg originally was wanting to do? This is one thing you're going to love, to take you to the Last Crusade thing. Originally, Steven Spielberg was talking about doing a James Bond movie. He always wanted to do a James Bond movie. Yep. And Lucas says, "Oh, I got something better than that." He goes, "I got."
George Lucas had a dog named Indiana.
Yeah, he did. Which was, by the way, that's what Chewbacca, Indiana was who Chewbacca was based off of. But Indiana Smith was who he was going to call him.
Yeah.
Lucas,
that'd have been
Spielberg
terrible.
says, "Oh, I love everything except the last name." He goes, "Okay." He goes, "The Smith and Jones." So he says, "Well, okay, how about Jones?" Indiana Jones goes, "Oh, okay, that's better." So Spielberg thought, okay, I'll do this instead of James Bond. So that's why it's so great that the original James Bond ends up being his dad. Now, he was only 12 years older than Harrison Ford, but he says, well,
that in movies.
He says, he says it's James Bond.
You got 30-years playing teenagers in movies. I mean, you just kind of go with it.
And it was so awesome. They said, well, he's only 12 years older. He goes, it's James Bond.
Yeah, because James Bond is totally the father of Indiana Jones in his own way. It was that serial style series. And always the women just loving him and everything, which is something that's we lost in this one because he's an old man or something. But having like the bits in Raiders of the Lost Ark where he's there trying to teach class and the girl's blinking and having the "I love you" on her.
I love you. I love you.
Stuff like that. It's like that's part of what the weird charm is. Like the women just would fawn over him ridiculously, and that was part of it. It's not believable in this. And here's another in a real world sense, but it's just funny.
Here's another connection. We had Indiana Jones on the movie screen, but at home we had Tom Selleck, Mr. Magnum PI.
Magnum PI.
Because he was going to be Indiana Jones. And what happened was he couldn't because the fact that he was signed up already to be Magnum. And so he couldn't do it. And because Lucas had this real thing. He didn't want Harrison Ford to be Han Solo because he'd already been in American Graffiti. And he was really afraid that Harrison Ford everyone's going to think that he was his new Al Pacino as Al Pacino was to Ford.
Well, and Harrison Ford was working as a carpenter on Star Wars, and but he was helping read lines and everything. And they said, okay, we can't find a Han Solo, you're just going to have to do it.
And he said the same thing about the whole Indiana Jones thing. And then they said, and they're like, oh, come on, so they went back to Ford after the whole Tom Selleck fiasco. Yeah. I still think it would have been great to have Tom Selleck be the villain in this one or something. Had him be last name Smith. That would have been great, That
would have been funny. Yeah,
that would have been great.
Have it be like a long lost brother or something,
or a cousin, or even if it just been a fellow archaeologist or something.
Right.
That would have been great, Smith.
We still got that tribute on Rescue Rangers. Chip and Dale were dressed.
That's right.
You're right. And Magnum PI.
In fact, there's 2 figures I want to get right now of those two. Of
Chip
and Dale. It would be great because that's why they do look like Indiana Jones and Tom Selleck.
And Magnum PI. That's totally why they did it. And there's people who still, I think every year that this is new, because I've even seen just a few weeks ago with this movie coming out, somebody posted up the picture that had a picture of Indiana Jones and Magnum PI and then Chip and Dale. And then it had I was today years old when I learned this. I was like, oh yeah, I learned that a long time ago.
Me too, but it's fun. It's fun. Yeah. I'm glad they know it.
I love it when people learn these things and they're like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yes, they totally did.
Me.
They pulled it out for you.
I've got every Magnum PI right up there, and I got all sorts of Magnum stuff. I'm talking the original Magnum.
Yeah, not the new stuff.
Not that new stuff.
The new stuff. I haven't really watched much of the old stuff either.
Oh, I got them all right there, the toy and everything. I love it.
My goodness. But yeah, so yeah, a lot of great memories of Indiana Jones growing up. And heck, I even remember there was Choose Your Own Adventure Indiana Jones, where you played like as Indy's nephew and you were going along on the adventures with him. Had at least one of those books. Comic books and video games are really hard to understand video game with the Raiders of the Lost Ark, where no one knew what the heck to do on that one. But speaking of video games that owe their existence to Indy, well, other than Tomb Raider really kind of borrowed a lot, but also some of newer franchise that I think follows Indy a little bit better is the Uncharted games. And even that Uncharted movie was still pretty good. It didn't have the same feel of the games, but that Uncharted movie wasn't bad. It was fun. But the Uncharted games, although they're more, Nathan Drake is less of an archaeologist and more of a trying to get the money that this item might be worth, but he finds himself in situations where he's got to race for this weird item before some bad guy gets it that's going to do horrible things with whatever item. And it's sometimes like there's something, he's going for the lost city of gold, but there's something inside the lost city of gold that's actually the real thing that the bad guy's after and stuff like that. Which, if you haven't played the Uncharted games, you totally got to play them. They've remastered them for PS5. They are fantastic games.
Even Lara Croft had that Indiana Jones thing going on, and they're really good, but Indiana Jones really kind of sparked.
I think they changed it a little bit. With
a little bit
with her,
but they really sparked something in us, that bring it to life. George did a great job in that beginning, getting it going. He did a great job. He really did.
Oh yeah. And I love the games that spawned. We've even had a few good Indiana Jones games. I had one on Xbox 360.
Yes.
Well, it was an Xbox game, but it was the Emperor's Tomb, and it was so hard that I put in a cheat code to make myself invincible. And I was getting near the end. I fell down into a pit, but I couldn't die from hitting the bottom of the pit. I was stuck down there. I couldn't get out, and I didn't have any saves to go back to. And I was like, forget it. So I went and I traded it in.
I had a great one for PlayStation, I want to say 2. And it was a really fun one. I love that one partially because it had the Nazis and it had others. And to me, I'm not saying it's the only one, but there's something about Indiana Jones versus the Nazis. That's the classic feeling. And it was terrifying because I'd be down here where I'm at.
It's probably the Emperor's Tomb because that's the only one I remember on console other than the Lego games.
And yes, and that was fun too.
The Lego games were good.
It was really terrifying. I think it was the Emperor's one, but it's very terrifying because I was in the dark a lot of times, like halfway in the dark, and I'd hear that and I'd be like, oh, I felt like someone's gonna come down and kill me.
So you're gonna have some crazy Nazi come down and like, oh, oink,
well, you have to understand something. You all don't know this. My father collected a lot of historical relics and things. And he actually had come down. Now, if you didn't know any better, you'd think something bad about my dad, but he had all sorts of flags of all different nations coming down, and he had reenacted like hats and belts and stuff of the old German soldiers and American soldiers and English soldiers and all stuff. And if you didn't know any better, you thought, what is he? He's crazy. No, he had historical stuff coming all the way down. So I remember before I knew what all this meant, he had all these different things of historical things, including different things that soldiers had received from the German soldiers back in the day. Some were remade, but some were really from back in those days. And so now I don't know. My brother probably has all of them now. But all that being said, is like if I really wanted to see that stuff, I could have just went up the stairway at the time, and I would have seen it. It would have been there.
Yeah. Well, we're getting up close to 2 hours, so we've got to wrap this up. But before we go, I'm going to show this to you, and I'm going to show this to everybody who's got video. I've been sitting here, and I've been kind of making some noise because I was setting up. Well, darn it, they got out of position. I've got Mickey and Minnie holding hands.
There you are.
This is the way they will be on the shelf. I mirrored the way they're in the back of the box, where they're kind of waving, and they're holding their hands. That's cute. Mickey and Minnie will be going up on a shelf here very soon. But this has been a fun show, of course, going back and reliving some great memories. And of course, come back next week. We'll do more. I got to find my show notes here. Where are my show notes? There we go. So I can go and thank everybody. Here we go. Make sure you go to neverlandpodcast.com, by the way, because you will see a thing right there in the middle of the screen. If you happen to have a podcast called My Podcast Reviews, you can get all your reviews from around the world. And even the creator of that, Daniel, is doing some upgrades, and he's going to have some brand new features up available for a very low cost. You can get there, and you can get all reviews sent even to your email. Of course, and we want to thank Karen Kennedy, Ricky Pope of Christian Nerds Unite, and Darren Wilhite of the Wilhite and Wall Show for helping me out with the intro. Don't forget to send us an email at podcast@neverlandpodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Join the Neverlanders on the neverlandpodcast.com website. become an official Lost Boy or Pixie, because we have Pixies, because girls are too clever, they don't get lost. Make sure while on the website you go to our shop where you can get some fun designs, and I got a few more designs I need to get in there on t-shirts. I think you can get coffee mugs, mouse pads, you can get like phone cases, and every little bit does help. By the way, also if you want to help out the show, and if you're not getting to see the video of this, donate through patreon.com/Neverland Podcast. You'll find that link on the website as well, and you can go through and become a regular patron and get special bonus type of things. In fact, you can get an RSS feed without any of those annoying ads. And of course, you've also got the video so you can see my beautiful face and Philip's beautiful face as we're having this conversation. And heck, he's even got a nice haircut, and I really badly need one. So, we got to wrap this thing up, so I'm just going to now tell you to get lost.
Inventor!
He stole my line. I usually try to give it a 10 count, and he cut me off at 5 seconds.
I couldn't help myself. I'm so sorry, friend.
It's just the energy, the Hulkamania was running wild.
Oh, let me tell you something, brother. Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy, I got to kill this show before we go too far off. We'll see you next time.